Kendi kanalından herkese merhaba. Sherlock Holmes'ta yepyeni bir davaya merhaba diyoruz. Kew Gardens tiyatrosunun davasını çözmekten mutluluk ve onur duyacağız. Kendi kanalına abone olmayı, videoları beğenmeyi unutmayın. Herkese iyi seyirler dilerim
You're
şimdiden.
early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment, a theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Hadi bakalım. Kew Bahçelerine yola çıkalım.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
What are we doing, Holmes?
Ne yapıyoruz?
Let us find
Holmes?
someone who could help us.
Hadi bakalım, şurada birileri var. Bir selamun
Don't
aleyküm.
touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time.
Abimiz biraz
Good
sert.
day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
Okey
The
Watson.
plants were here. All of them were...
What should we do next, Holmes?
Ölüm yerini incele. Watson bak kafayı koyarım ha sana. Çalınan bitkileri bul. Ölüm yerini incele. Şöyle bir etrafı bir gezelim.
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead.
İşte burası. Ayak izleri.
The traces are thinner in some places. These
Büyük
boot
siyah
marks are
izler.
fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here.
Kapıdaki izler.
The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle
Sol.
is new. It was recently changed.
Kol yapımında değiştirilmiş. Kırık mermer.
The esconson was breached near the handle. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection Room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need...
Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. The
Burada da var.
soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground.
Evet.
Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
Kırık vazo.
This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced. These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana.
Ah, yes. The...
Bitkilerin listesi.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
Bu bize lazım olur. Dursun.
Do not
Uyarı.
touch.
Dokunmayın.
This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it.
Orada da kan izi var.
This sign is blood. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash, most likely a head wound. All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all.
Hayal gücünü. Kapıyı kırmak 1. Sayı demek için çizimi 3 olsa. Peki neden?
This
Bence böyle değil
reconstruction
ama.
reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder? I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection Room.
Pekala, şimdi şöyle yapıyoruz. Koloni koleksiyonunu incele. Okey. Başka da bir şeyimiz yok zaten.
Very strange. Half of the Colonial Collection is absent. These
Pencere
windows
camları.
were perfectly cleaned. The smell is
Deterjan.
strong. It is A detergent.
Dudağımı kanattım ya. Taş çatla.
This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned.
Okey. Bulduğumuz ipuçlarından bir şeyler çıkartabiliyoruz ha. Boşaltılmış koloni koca dün tuzağa düşürüldü. Okey.
This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
Pekala, buraları inceleyelim.
These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Evet. Buradan bence bu adam zehirlenmiş burada. Burada ekstra bulacağım bir şey var mı? Bakıyorum şöyle çıkmadan. Bu oda okey. Havalandırma her yeri geziyor.
Dry tropics.
Sıcak kuşak. Atsın çık.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the
Okey. Aç bakalım kapıyı. Masada bir şeyler yok. Şöyle deneyelim. Saksı.
These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Bahçeye ait olmayan semboller ha. İyi. Okey. Nereye geldik? Merdiven, defter, kapı,
Dry tropics.
sıcak kuşak. Burada dışarıya mı açılıyor? Nereye açılıyor? Aynen. İçeri Watson gel. Bu taraftan. Evet, bayağı büyük.
Water lily greenhouse. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Şimdi bu taraftan.
Water lily greenhouse. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. According to
Palmiye he. Okey, buralarda da bir şey yok. Burada
Can
hiçbir
I
şey
help you,
yoktu.
gentlemen?
Sen kimsin aslan? Evet, sen bana yardım etmeden önce ben şu etrafı bir inceleyeyim.
a task
Okay.
list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the farmhouse, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools.
Emir verilmiş temizle diye birine.
Farmhouse.
Okay, İn bakalım aşağıya Albert. Kızıl gözler yakınlarda ağlamış, üzüntüden tükenmiş. Yara izi, tıraş kesiği. Temiz eller. Burada mı
Do you work
çalışıyorsun?
here?
Yes, but part-time only. For I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then that is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Evet, burayla işim bitti galiba. Buradan da çıkıyorum. Okey. Şimdi ben etrafı inceleyelim. Oo, bayağı büyük.
Colonial Collection. Dry Tropics.
Sıcak kuşak ve
Farmhouse.
palmiye evi. Zaten buralarda da
A
işimiz
map
yok.
of Kew Gardens. Ventilation system. Seed house. Nursery. Director's office, cloakroom, and laboratory.
Okey. Bakalım başka inceleyecek bir şey var mı? Var herhalde. Beni atmadığına göre haritadan hala.
Reserve.
Depo.
Water
Nilüfer
lily
Teras.
greenhouse.
Okey. Şununla bir konuşalım. Gözlük kullanıyor. Sakallı. Kirli tasma. Tasma ne anasını satayım ya. Yaka. Bekar. Elleri kirli.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Locked.
Locked.
Locked.
Gel bakalım Watson. Şuraları bir gezelim. Şimdilik buradayız. Orada bir yanık var. Burada bir şeyleri yakıyorlar.
A door handle? Why
Kapı
would
kolu.
anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the Colonial Collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Gaz maskesi.
A protective mask. Someone set it alight, but it did not burn. The remains of
tablo.
a picture frame. A broom handle was half burned.
Şömine, kırık vazo.
The symbol
Oh.
is not from Kew Gardens.
Kew bahçelerine ait olmayan bir sembol daha.
The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned. Would you unlock the doors for us?
Do you expect to find the stolen plants there? I am sorry, but those rooms are private.
Allah Allah.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Locked.
Kapıları açmıyor. Çakala bak. Alırsak arşivlere gidelim. Şimdi arşivlerde mektup gelmiş. Evet, Bay Holmes, bu mektubu yaklaşık 20 yıl önce bilmem ne cart saygılarımla müfettiş Lester etti. Teşekkürler müfettiş. Bitki bilim. Araştırma. Kimya. Zehir ve toksinler. Zehir ve toksinler. Burada değildir. Yaralar ve sakatlıklar. Bu da dövüş sanatları. İzler, semboller. Büyük ihtimal burada. Arsenik.
That is
Zehirlerin
not the one
en
I
kötüsü. Siyanür.
That is not the one I need.
Güzel avrat otu.
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need. That
Bu da
is
değil.
not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
Yaralar.
That is not the one I need.
Bu sütun ne yani? Ben bunları nereden bulacağım ya? Ansiklopedilerden bakalım. Sanat, ekonomi, tarih, sağlık, bitki bilim. Bu var mı? Bakalım. Niko bilmem ne artıyor.
That is not the one I need.
Yok.
Here it is.
Aynen istediğimiz bu. Okay, şimdi sıra kırık vazonun sembolünü incele. Semboller vardı burada. İzler, semboller. Arka avluda bulunmuş kırık saksı üzerindeki sembol Kew Bahçelerine ait bir sembol değil. Bu oymanın anlamı yanılmıyorsam kutsal demek.
That
Yeni
is not the one
semboller.
I need. That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
Burada. Doğaya saygı için Dwayne Scholastics Syndicate. Bu kurum üyelerinin tanrısı Treven'dır. Üyeler manevi huzuru elde etmek için kendilerine fiziki dünyadan soyutlamak için çaba gösterir. Sonuç olarak her türlü bağış kabul
Here it
edilir.
is.
Okey, bunu da bulduk.
The Divine Syndicate
Biraz-
is not a supplier to Kew Gardens.
Deneme yanılma
Besides,
yöntemiyle
there is no
bulsak da bu vazoyu incele.
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
Dur ya, yanlış yere bakıyorum ya. Of. Dwayne.
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
Bahçe bahçeniz için gerekli her şey bizde bulunur. Her türlü kum, toprak, kereste, gübre, saksı ve ihtiyacınız olabilecek her şey temin edilir.
Here it is.
Onlara. Okey, burayı da çözdük. Watson? Hayırdır, ablayı mı kesiyorsun? Watson?
Someone should take Toby for a walk. Have you found something interesting?
Watson çok tehlikeli
Oh
adam.
dear, Toby. I wasn't aware that you were Watson's new literary agent.
Ve Sherlock arabada giderken şeyi okuyor. Suç ve Ceza, Dostoyevski'nin kitabını okuyor. Aslan, biraz konuşalım seninle, gel bakalım.
Are you aware of The Divine Syndicate.
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall
Thank-
continue our investigation.
Sen yalan söylüyorsun ha Hemiş.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Buralar hala kilitli mi?
Locked.
Locked. Evet, kutsal sendika hakkında da bir şey öğrenemedik. Oo, açıldı. Yo, bura açıktı zaten.
Locked.
Locked. Bunların bir girişi olmalı. Karakola doğru gidelim. Çıkanmamızın sebebi buymuş.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy then.
Hadi gidip bir otopsi yapalım. Mr. Holmes.
Holmes?
Mr. Holmes. Adamın eşyası falan var mı? Var. Olmaz olur mu?
This watch is of great value.
Bir cep saati. Kulüp kartı.
A membership card for the London Crest Club. A beautiful feather pen.
Güzel bir dolma kalem ve mektup. Wayne ve oğulları baskı şirketinin müdürü Bay Wayne. Dostum, Kew Bahçelerindeki büyük sergi için hazırladığım posterler çok güzeller fakat bütün profesyonellerden bahsetmek kesinlikle gereksiz. Sadece benim adım yeterli olacaktır. Vay vay vay, birazcık megaloman. İlle de ben. Gıcık olurum öyle insanlara. Bir iş yapıldıysa hep birlikte yapıldıysa hep birlikte.
First of all, let us
Söylenmeli.
carry out an external examination.
Her şeyden önce bir
There are no
göğüs kafesini
suspicious marks
inceleyelim.
upon the chest. Let us
İz
finish
yok.
our external examination so that we can proceed.
Bir iz yok. Sol kol.
Nothing suspicious.
Hiçbir şüpheli bir şey yok. Sağ kol.
No red.
Yok. Kızarıklık, morluk hiçbir şey yok. Göğüs yok. Yok. Bacaklar, alafat hiçbir şey yok. Yüzünü inceleyelim. Okey.
There
Alın.
is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the
Nilüfer serasına düştüğünde olmuş.
the
Gözler
vessel
açık
and the
gitmiş.
pupil of the eye.
Evet.
The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma.
İçini mi
Now,
değişeceğiz şimdi?
let us examine the internal organs.
Kalp.
The heart's blood vessels show no.
Patolojik
Daha.
bir iz yok. Gayet iyi.
The heart tissue shows
Kalbi gayet iyi. Karaciğerine bakalım. Alkol
the
tüketiyor mu?
liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol.
Alkol bağımlılığı yok babuşun.
The liver tissue is brown. There
Patolojik bir iz yok. Mideye bakalım.
the
Mide.
stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs.
Sorun ciğerlerde
There is a
olacak.
small
En
amount
sona
of
bıraktım onu
content.
bilerek.
It appears that he
Hafif bir kahvaltı yapmış. Akciğerler.
the lungs are congested and edematous.
Ödemli. Sigara mı içiyordun aslan? Oo bak burada hasarlı
The
kısa.
tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably
Evet,
caused by
zehirlenmiş
toxins
babuş.
from an unknown plant.
Adam zehirlenmiş hocam.
My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning, plant poisoning to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
Bu bir
for
cinayet.
Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
Challenge
We need
is
to locate
mine.
that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, we also have the people working at Kew Gardens, Martin Hamish, and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No, a few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building. I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
Biraz
More than a
little.
little.
Okey, çıkarımımızı yapalım. Ölümcüler bitkiler çalındı, zehirlenme. Nice. Katiller köy bahçelerinde gerçekleşen sergideki egzotik bitkileri çalanlarla aynı kişiler olabilirler. Olabilirler. Evet, bir çıkarımım daha var. Bakalım, ipucu. Dun tuzağa düşürüldü. Zehirlenme. Dun katil tarafından koloni koleksiyonun odasına kilitlendikten sonra şiddetli bir bitkisel zehirden etkilendi. Kabul. Bu doğru. Okey. Şimdi buradan gidiyoruz. Evet. Şimdi yerimiz Kew Bahçeleri. Açılmayan yerler vardı. Onları açacağız. Haritadan da gösterelim şu şekilde. Burası açılmıyordu. Burası açılmıyordu. Fidanlık ve tohum odası da açılmıyordu. Bu üç yeri şimdi keşfedeceğiz. Bulmacalarını çözeceğiz. Şimdi öncelikle şu vatandaşla bir konuşalım. Hamish'le. Bakalım bize neler anlatacak. Anlatma.
Mr.
Ben de bu
Hamish,
sırada
can you explain
kahvenden
to
yudum
us
alayım.
what happened to
Herkese
the
iyi
colonial
seyirler.
collection?
Abone
It
olmayı
seems
unutmayın.
somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Kadınları sevmeyen erkek var mı acaba? Anahtarlar.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Yani
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. You'd better
katil bu
leave
adam.
that to me. He has no experience.
Böyle düşünüyorum.
No, none at all.
Bakalım sonuç neyi gösterecek.
What is your
Bir
opinion of Albert
kıskançlık
as a
seçtim bu
student of
adamdan.
botany?
Seçtim de
Useless.
sevdim.
I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was.
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him. asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
Allah Allah. Margaret White
You
kim ya?
mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany.
Allah, sen de çekici
You should
olduğunu
take a look
kabul
at some of
ediyorsun
her
yani. Sende de var
experiments
bir
she carried
iklilik o
out in the
zaman.
laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Okey, araştırmalarımızı devam ediyoruz. Şimdi maktulün oğluyla görüşelim. Bunu rezil etmiş. Allah Allah. Peki babanızla ilişkiniz nasıl?
I
Anlat
imagine
bakayım.
that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here.
Öyle mi?
Now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Do you
Kapı
hold the
anahtarları.
keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them, but I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure
Öyle
you
bir şey yok.
understand.
Öyle bir şey yok ama şu Bayan
Who is Miss
White'tan bahset.
Margaret White?
Margaret White'tan
She is the
bahset
young
bana.
lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
Öyle mi? Güzel. Buradaymış.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah. At the moment, I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
Would you
Peki,
please tell us
müdürle
about
aran nasıl?
Martin Hamish, the
Bak,
deputy
bildiklerini
director?
anlat bakalım bize.
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed. That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Tekrar yakında görüşeceğiz. Şimdi benim çıkarımım şu. Bu bahçe sulayan vatandaş bir kıskançlık krizinde. Maktulün oğlu da bence babasına karşı bu konuşma şeyinden dolayı bir kin tutmuş, bir intikam almak istemiş olabilir. Bakacağız. Dubai yok. Bir cacık yok. Bakacağız. Albert'ın hırsı zehirlemeye neden olmuş olabilir diyeceğim ama bunların hiçbiri işe yaramıyor. Alakası yok. Dolayısıyla devam ki araştırmaya. Şimdi öncelikle burayı bir araştıralım. Anahtarları verdiğine göre bize.
Locked.
Locked. Ne locked lan, açtık işte. Müdür masası, şampanya, kasa, Güzel. Fotoğraf. Şuradan başlayalım. Evet,
French
şarap.
wine, a
Fransız şarabı.
remarkable vintage.
Harikulade. Şampanya.
Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste.
Adam ağzının tadını biliyor ha. Watson. Aslan ne diyorsun bu işe? New York
Newspapers
Times.
discussing Kew Gardens.
Times. Orada ufak tefek hatalar var. Bir şapka. Telefon. Bozuk paralar. Eldiven. Not kağıdı. Mektup. Not kağıdı değilmiş. Bir nevi göndermiş kızı buradan.
A
Fotoğraf.
photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish.
Reynolds ve ben birlikteyiz. Kasayı bir açalım. Bunu nasıl açacağız? İki mi? Hadi. 2 3 4 olur bu da. Hadi 5'miş. 2 1 2 3 4 5. Nice. Aç bakayım kasayı Sherlock. Müdürün kasası. Bakalım kasada neler var. Mektup. 1889'da bir sıkıntı olmuş. Onu fark ettik. Bu mektupta da aynı şey
I
yazıyor. Peki
suggest
bunu...
that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Allah Allah. Bak sen şu işe. Landun. Kartoros. Evet. White'ın kovulması. White ve Dunn. Bunların arasında bir şeyler var. Bayan White ve Bay Dunn yakın zamanda bir fikir ayrılığı yaşamışlar. Dunn, White'ı Kew Bahçelerinden çıkarmayı planlıyormuş. Okey. Okey, Dunn. Devam. Burayı da açalım. Lock değil, açtık ya işte. Sherlock bak beni sızdırma. Laboratuvar masası. Islak şişe izi ve burayı incele. Zehir burada
There
üretilmiş
was a
hocam.
bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Altın tozu mu?
Gold dust. Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Zehirlemek için. Watson salak olma. Damla.
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around.
Ve yerde de var.
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose.
İyi bir buruna ihtiyacımız varsa bizim köpeğe getireceğiz. Önce burayı bir araştırmamızı bitirelim. Oo, koruyucu maske.
It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here.
Orada yakıyorlardı.
Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
Such
Maske.
masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals.
Maske güzel. Güzel bir kapı var orada. Oraya da geçeceğim. Üniversite günlüğü mü?
A botany book. This student's book belongs to Albert.
Albert'a ait. Ama Kurt da White da hırsından dolayı Albert'ı öldürmüş olabilir.
Chemicals, a sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
Fonograf mı?
Phonograph used for voice
Phonograph.
recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything.
Şimdi duyabiliriz.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
Burada ne anlatıyor?
Clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
Çalışma raporu. Kanıt gerekli. Bununla alakalı daha bir şeyler bulacak gibiyim herhalde.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Watson. Kaşınma bak.
Locked.
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. We will open it.
Her şeyi açarız biz aslan. Evet, bunu şöyle bir bakalım. Okey. Nice.
Open.
Çözdük. Açın. Albert'ın
Albert's
dolabı.
locker.
Araştıralım. Bir gemi. Bir fotoğraf.
Young Albert standing with a woman in front of London University.
Şapka.
Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea.
Yine bir
A
mektup.
rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
Oğlan askeriye gitmek istiyormuş. Aklını sikeyim.
Martin Hamish's locker. A review on
Bitki
rare
bilim
and
kitabı.
exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces.
Bilim dergisiymiş, kitap değil. Burada da bir fotoğraf var. Döndür bakalım.
Father and I.
Babam ve
Kew
ben.
Gardens.
Kew Bahçeleri. Şapka. Bir mektup daha. Genel sekreter bu yüzden bilmem ne dert Martin Hamish'in
Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting.
kimya çalışmış. Oldukça ilginç. Pekala. Bayan White'ın
Miss
dolabı.
White's locker.
Bir cap ve bir mektup gene.
A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
Yardım istemiş anasından
Apparently,
babasından.
Miss White is a capable student.
Başarılı bir öğrenci. Mücevher kutusu. Ay
These
yavrum
jewels
vay.
must be worth a small fortune. A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
Vakko diyor ha. Aileden mektup. Ailesi. Bir mektup daha. Ne yapıyorsunuz oğlum siz? Nasıl bir fantazinin içindesiniz ya? Okey, şimdi bir bakalım nelerimiz var. O yüzden araştırmaya devam. Şu White'la bir tanışalım artık. Zamanı geldi.
Locked.
Lock'tu açtık ya işte düdük. Şuraları inceleyelim. Pencere. Poster.
This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing. But it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This
Certificate.
certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
Pencere açık kalsın. Çalışma masasını inceleyelim.
A thesis written by Martin
Hamish
Hamish.
tarafından yazılmış bir tez.
A glasses case. This area
Gözlük
serves
kutusu.
as Martin Hamish's office.
Burayı büro olarak kullanıyor Hamish. Gene sertifikalar, diplomalar.
An award presented to Martin Hamish for a
En iyi ödül.
master's degree diploma. It
Uzman derecesinde bir diploma. Evet.
These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery.
Evet, burada da bir şey yok. Daha fazla. Pencereyi açmıştım en son
We
ben.
can see the interior of the
Burası. Ben gidince kapanıyor, okey. Watson. Ne oluyor, ne oluyor? Büst mü? Aha. Adam çöpe atmış Mr. Doğan'ı.
It is a bust of Montague Dunn. I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place.
Bence doldurur.
Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common. The seeds of plant species.
Var mı daha bir şey? Atsın. Ne haber? Hiç
What
sesin
should we do
çıkmıyor.
next, Holmes?
Şimdi göstereceğim ne olduğunu sırada.
Locked.
Locked.
Open.
Open. Meşhur Margaret White. Bakalım nasıl bir kadın bu?
Good day to you, miss. You have
İyi günler
some
hanımefendi.
very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you too. But
Abla
I beg
tırıvırı.
your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson.
İşe yaramaz.
This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Ta kendisi.
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Ablayı bir inceleyelim. Ablaya bakalım. Dudaklar, gözler, kaşlar. Pahalı bir parfüm. Eller kızarmış. Bekar. Tam baktım ya, yanlışlıkla bastım, pardon. Buradan çık. Konuşacaktım ben, yanlış tuşa bastım.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Okay. Burada mı
Do you
çalışıyorsun?
work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
Evet. Kutsal
The
Sendika.
Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
İçeri nasıl girdin? Ya babuş, yanlış tuşa bastın. Tamam, niye böyle yapıyorsun? Hemen
Most of the
girdin?
doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
ne kadar iyi
He
tanıyordun
was a
Doğan'ı?
master, a great leader. I
Manevi
saw
baba
him
ha.
almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature.
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Thank you, miss. None of the
Teşekkürler
three
bayan.
people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection someone is lying.
Biri yalan söylüyor.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room.
Etrafı bir dolaşalım. Bakalım burada bir şeyler var mı? İnceleyebileceğimiz, bakabileceğimiz. Mr. White, Bayan White. Toby'yi kullan. Peki. Evet, Aslan, Hamiş. Şu Kew
Mr.
Bahçeleri
Hamish,
var mı?
was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
Yalan söyleme.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work, for Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh, yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father. so it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
Büstü
There is a
açıkla.
bust of Montague
Bana.
Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know, but it has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Allah Allah.
Evidently.
Allah Allah, sen biraz var ya
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
gıcıksın. Şuradan çıkarımlarımızdan bir şeyler bulduk. Yeni müdür. Hamish'in öfkesi. Evet. Hamish'in bir sebebi vardı. Onun ve babasının yaşadığı hayat Dun tarafından çalışmalarının itibarı çalınarak mahvedilmişti. Kew Bahçeleri yönetimini ele geçirmeyi istiyordu. Fakat Dun hala hayattayken bunun mümkün olmadığını biliyordu. Okey, Hamish bu yüzden. Pekala, bakalım başka sebeplerimiz var mı? Albert'ın hırsız zehirleme, bilmem ne de. Aynıları duruyor. Şimdi bir de şu oğlanla konuşalım. İşte Albert.
I
Donanmaya
perceive
girme
that you are
halim varmış.
passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
Zor. Hepsi bu. Geleceğim burada. Bundan başka hiçbir şey asla olamaz.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea.
Hemen itiraf
He did his
etmeleri de
best
ayrı
to
bir
ruin
olay.
my plans.
Ha, gerçekten çok
Although I almost
zekisin.
did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Evet, oyunun yapıldığı tarihe göre
Thank you,
aslında
young
çok
man.
iyi. Şimdi Albert'ın hırsı, Albert'ın aşağılanması. Albert'ın sebebi, babası Dune'u öldürmek için bir sebebi var. Dune, Albert'ın Kreaton'u katılmalarını engellemişti. Babasını öldürerek intikam almış olacak ve Kew Bahçeleri müdürü olarak babasının yerine geçmeyi başaracaktı. Ama ben bunun bu olduğuna inanmıyorum. Bu çocuk bir şey yapmadı gibi duruyor. Pekala, şimdi dönelim. Diyalogumuz yok. Arşivde aramız var. Baker sokağına gideceğiz. Toby'yi alacağız. Arşivimize bakacağız. Devam edelim. Önce arşiv. Kutsal Sendika'nın bir üyesi Kew Bahçeleri hakkında bir eleştiri yazmış. Gazetelerde davasına basılmış, davadan bahsetmiş. Gazeteler 89. Evet. Bu. İşte burada.
And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn.
Pekala, Toby'yi alalım. Bebiş, hadi gidiyoruz.
Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do. Let us go to Kew Gardens.
Kew Garden'a gidiyoruz. Her şeyden önce Kutsal Sendika'ya uğrayacağım ama önce Kew Garden'a gitmemiz lazım.
Let us
Okay.
take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance.
Okay. Toby.
Search, Toby. Search.
Pekala. Hadi Toby. Bu adam da ne suladı be. Toby bir şeyler buldu.
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found.
Gizli bir şişe.
This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes. A tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
Bunu büyük ihtimal analiz edeceğiz. Toby gelirse tamamlandı.
Brave Toby.
En iyi buruna sahip. Şimdi analiz yapacağız. Bir diyalogumuz var. Okey, şunlarla bir konuşalım.
This place is beautiful, Holmes.
Oo.
Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us.
Selamünaleyküm üstad.
Good day to you, sir. My name is
I am exalting the sap from the trace of elements, and moreover, from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. It's
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
there. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcomed you are. To introduce myself, I am the Green Grand Mystic.
Dövmesi iyiymiş.
the Green Grand Mystic himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
Daha iyi bir inceleyelim. Dövme dikkatimizi çekti zaten. Parmak nasıl dövüşçü, elini çıkarak. Allah Allah, asit. Ha? Bu asitin bir...
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate, glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
Saksılarınız...
We visited Kew Gardens, and we found your symbols on their flower pots.
Coincidence, I am thinking. They would scavenge our refuse. It would not surprise me.
It was merely an observation. Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Dragon.
Our God King's name is Treewan, Green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation can you make whenever you so wish.
Thank you so much.
I pray
Eyvallah.
you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
Gübre mi?
But of course,
Raw sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Çanga vurabiliyor muyum ya? Aha, saksı parçası.
A fragment of a flower pot.
Bir çiçek saksısı.
Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
Kılıf.
The Kew Gardens symbol.
Kew Bahçeleri sembolü. Evet. Yer değiştirilmiş gibi sanki ha. Burası nereye gidiyor? Geldiğimiz yere. Okey. Şimdi içeri girebiliriz. Selamünaleyküm ağalar. İlaç
That should
masası.
be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
Evet. Bir bakalım şöyle. Kaşık.
It is rather delicious and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
Evet, birazcık bana da öyle geldi Watson. Bana da öyle geldi. Burası boş. İncelenecek bir şey yok.
This door is locked.
Kapı kapalı ama açmayı deneyebiliriz. Şimdi şu vatandaşla bir konuşacağız.
This must be Triwan, the Divine Syndicate's god.
Trivan buymuş. Burada da bir kapı var. Kafes.
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them.
Kafes.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest.
İlginç bir şey yok. Pekala.
A tropical.
İlginç bir bitki yok. Devam.
These three plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
Bütün çiçekleri aldık.
A tropical.
Burada da bir şey yok. Devam. Ne haber Watson?
This Green Grand Mystic fellow
Sen ne yapıyorsun? Sen ne bir de konuşalım.
make a donation? Glory to Triwan!
Evet. Bakalım buralarda neler var.
These instruments are
Küllük.
used for smoking.
Evet. Değişik şeyler içiyormuş. Kimya dolabı. Alkol.
This cabinet is full of chemicals. They are the same as the ones we found in the laboratory.
Şüpheli oldu ya bu adam. Bir anda.
That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments. A vast amount.
Çok büyük miktarda afyon. İlgimizi çeken obje. Okey. Kapıyı aç. Bunda konuşamıyoruz.
Osmosis and photosynthesis. Osmosis and photosynthesis. Praise the grand tree, praise it! Osmosis and
Watson. Bitti burada. Hayırseverler.
The list of plant friends and benefactors, lawyers, well-known manufacturers, political leaders.
Tamam. Şimdi bir Baker sokağına gidelim. Hem Toby'yi bırakalım hem bir deneyimizi yapalım. Devam edelim. Toby'yi bıraktık yerine. Güzel. Şimdi o ustadan öğrendiklerini yapıyor.
Let us determine just what we have found here.
Orada
Let
ne
us
bulduğumuzu
pour
bir
liquid from
saptayalım.
a bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. Red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
Evet, şimdi biz buradan ne yapacağız? Ona bir bakalım. Kutsal Sendika'nın ne gizlediğini bul ve şuradan bakıyorum bir diyaloğum var. Bu yüzden şeye gideceğim. Kutsal Sendika'nın olduğu yere. Ama ondan önce şüpheli malzemeler, ölümcül bitkiler çalındı. Albert'ın hırslı zehirleme. Evet, deney hazırla. Kimya laboratuvarında alkol ve tırtırlar ayarlayarak ölümcül bitkilerin deney gerçekleştir. Okey, deneyimiz var bir tane. Hazır buradayken deneyimizi yaparız. Ölümcül bitkiler çalındı. Albert'ın hırsı bilmem ne. Şimdi bir deneyimizi hazırlayalım. Hazır buradayken.
According to the deadly plants information, in order to perform our experiment, we will need first. My analysis tape.
Okay, bizim malzeme bulmamız gerekli. Evet. Şimdi o zaman biz diyaloğa Kutsal Sendika'ya bir gidelim. Belki ölümcül bir deney hazırlamak için oradaki bitkilerden de birkaç tane yürütebiliriz. Devam ki. Şu dayıyla bir konuşalım. Yani bu bölümde herkes hakkında bir fikrim var. Şüphelinin kim olduğunu.
Do you
Ama orada
have
kestiremedim.
friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there.
En üstte zaten
Nevertheless,
verdi.
we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
Olayla bağlantı var mı?
Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his greenfly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I
3
beg
tane
your pardon.
bitkileri yok.
And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Çalınan bitkileri bulduk. Şimdi bir deney hazırlayacağız. Hızlıca. Hala burada şıkıdık yapıyor.
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find... I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask.
Evet. Aldım. Şimdi şöyle bundan dök baba. Yerine koy.
It
Bunu al. Buraya koy.
How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant...
Tamam, dur. Sen burada. Sen de bununla yer değiştir. Sen tırtılı bırak. Şimdi yeah. İşte bu.
Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
Aynen.
The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Kew bahçelerindeki soruşturmaya devam et. Ölümcül hassasiyet. Kayıp ölümcül bitkiler. Bu değil şu an. Yani bunun ben bu olduğunu düşünüyorum ama bilmiyorum. Bakacağız. Duba yok. Cacık yok. Bakacağız. Kew bahçelerine geri gidiyoruz. Şimdi burada yapmamız gereken bütün şüphelilerle konuş. Bu biraz sıkıntı. Bu adam uzakta çünkü. Büyük yeşil büyücü. Hadi bakalım başlayalım. Yiğido bak bana bakayım. Aslan. Bunun ölümünden
Can you tell me
önce
if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
şimdi oğluyla bir konuşalım. Evlat. Bir bak bana.
Your
Baban-
father's death does seem highly
Bugün
suspicious.
neler yaptın
What were
babanla?
your movements here on that day?
Suspicious.
Anlat bakayım.
Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes, he came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Evet, şimdi White'ın yanına gidelim. Şimdi bu adam şüpheli. Gözlüklü. Peki bu kadın.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard
Yalan
the
bu.
cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
Bu kadın yalan
I
söylüyor.
joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Bir zaman
Everyone
sonra.
has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
Bir, sporları içine çekmek. İki, odadan kaçmak. Kapıyı kırdı, okey.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
Okey, havalandırmayı deneyeceğiz şimdi.
The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
Okey, havalandırmaya çalıştır.
The
Güç
power
ver.
is on. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working.
Havalandırma sistemi çalışıyor. Okey, buradan devam. Devam.
Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one. We can see the interior of the colonial...
Pekala. Yok, buraya kadar gelemedik. Dur. Koca haritayı bir daha. Büyük ihtimal şuradan geçeceğim. Kapıdan. Burada bir açmam gereken bir yer var herhalde. Watson'la mı görüşeceğim ya?
Palm.
Koş Sherlock, koş. Çözemedik. Az kaldı abi.
Now we need to see if we can activate the fans from Mr. Hamish's and Albert's space.
Ben oradan yapacağım. Pencereyi de açacağım. Okey, anladım.
We can see the interior of the colonial collection room from this window. We can see the interior of the colonial collection room from this window. Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
Okey, direkt yanına gönderdi. İyi, Allah'tan
Perfectly,
koştum.
Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
Okey, şimdi havalandırma kullanıldı. Ölümcül bir hassasiyet gerçekleşti. Martin Hamish koleksiyon odasındaki ölümcül bitkileri uyandırma şansı sahipti. Bir biyolog olarak, teknik olarak bunu nasıl yapılacağını anlayabilirdi. Ve burada bunları eşleştirdik mi? White'ın çalışmaları. Bayan White, üniversiteden edindiği bilgiyle ölümcül bir reaksiyon nasıl kanıtlayacak kadar yeterli olmayabilir. Yani olmayabilir. Bu kadından emin değilim. Bir tane daha. Albert'ın nasıl ölümcül hassasiyet. Evet, Albert bitki bilimde çok iyi değildi. Bitkilerin nasıl ölümcül bir spor sağlaması şüphe uyandırıyor. Yani bu da değil bence. Okey, şurada bir sonucumuz var. Hem iş suçlu hem iş katil olabilir. Sendikanın bitkilerini çalmak modülünün koleksiyon odasında kilitledikten sonra bitkileri uyanmak için şansı vardı. Okey, bu ne diyor? Hem işi tutukla. Ama bir şeyler eksik. Gibi.
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Scotland. Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes?
Holmes. That's right.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
Biraz zaman sonra.
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Harmhouse.
Holmes, my
Aha.
God!
Yes,
Adam kendini
we
asmış.
found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it. The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Bir not var burada. Ayağının birinde toz var, birinde yok.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case.
Hamish'in etrafı yumru ayak. Yumru ayağındaki bilek dönmesi sebebiyle koşması mümkün değil. Bu nedenle onun koloni koleksiyonu odasında kapısını kilitleyip havalandırmayı açacak kadar vaktin olup olmadığını öğrenmeliyiz. Bir suç ortağı mı var? Lestreit'le bir konuş.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct.
Kesinlikle öyle.
Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
Zaman çizelgesi mi?
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
Dur. Etkinlik oyna haritaya. Artık doğru gidiyormuşuz aslında.
Let
Okay.
us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time.
Bayan White, ha?
Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish.
Şimdi White'ın zaman aralığı White'ın zamanı vardı. Bayan White 20 dakika sırada onu kitlemek için yeterliydi. O kitlemiş, havanın sensasını uyarmış. Albert suç ortağı değiller. Şansa sahip olmasına rağmen 10 dakika yetersiz. White bir suç ortağı. Bence böyle. Bakalım yapacağımız bir şey var mı? Onaylıyorum. Onaylıyor musun? Onaylıyorum. Bayan White'ı tutukla. Bakalım doğru mu tahmin ettik? Bayan White para için ayrıntılı bir cinayet planlayabilecek kapasiteye sahip etkili bir kadın. Dune'un oğlu Albert ile flört etti ve daha sonra Martin Hamish'in intihar etmesi için zorladı. Asılmayı hak ediyor. Tutuklanmayı daha doğrusu. İnisiyatifli seçimi onaylıyor muyuz? Onaylıyoruz. Bakalım kararımız doğru mu? Evet, burada Sherlock'un Dostoyevski'nin Suç ve Ceza kitabını okuduğunu görüyoruz. Zaten oyunun ismi de Suç
But
ve
Holmes,
Ceza.
how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining: the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
Watson.
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
İçmeye çalışıyor.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Hadi Watson.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Ne demek ya? Oğlum ben müdahale ettim.
This is tragic, Holmes.
Are you able to do anything?
I'm afraid not. The poison has been fulgurating. Her heart stopped instantly.
Kalbi hemen durmuş zavallı çocuk. Evet, hak ettiğini buldu diyoruz. Ve sonucumuzu bir kontrol edelim. Her şey doğru. %100 doğru yapmışız. 22'de 22 ipuçlarını bulmuşuz. Bayan White suç ortağı. Bayan White'ı tutukla. Falan fistan. Kararı kabul et. Evet. Kew Gardens tiyatrosu davası çözüldü. Diskem.tr kanalından izlediğiniz için çok sağ olun. Bir sonraki davada görüşmek dileğiyle. Hoşça kalın. Bizden bu kadarlık.